Give some examples of, I don't know how willing you are to get about specifics of leadership mistakes and leadership successes that you've had that have
Yeah.
led to where you are today, but that would be an amazing topic.
100%. I believe mistakes can only be made when you're not taking care of yourself. You're not keeping promises to yourself, and you're cheating on yourself. Like indirectly, you also cheat on your team because you can't show up to the best of your capability. And I think like leadership is not just in like a business; it's everywhere. Like also in your relationship. Like you gotta provide, make the decisions. Provide security. Leadership is in war. Like look at like basically our history. Like you've got warlords that lead their team basically into success and glory of battle. It's literally everywhere. And what I think we can take away from that is like the traits that they have, which is so inspiring when you basically think about it. It's decisiveness, it's courage, it's trusting, because you said like the what ifs, right? Like in that case, man, like my perception on this is you gotta like be able to trust yourself, even if the problem arises, to figure it out. And that's like why I'm not afraid of like negative feedback or for things to go wrong, because I'm like, well, that happens. I trust myself and I'm going to figure it out. Even if it's the worst thing, like I don't care what it is, because, me doubting myself versus this thing happening, the worst thing in that scenario is me doubting myself, because it's going to reflect into more things in my life, right? Not just my business, but even my personal life. So I prefer to be ready for whatever comes rather than having that doubt internally. And I think like leadership really just comes from number one, like experience. And second, also just looking at like other successful leaders in different, like just facets of life, whether that's war, whether that's relationships, like it is really everywhere when you think about it. When someone's on the stage like Tony Robbins, like just look at the traits that a guy carries. It's courage, confidence, positivity, no judgment. It's leading. And I think it's just in the nuances too, ultimately, that if you master with time, you become a better leader, but that only happens by actually doing the thing. And I don't consider myself like the number one or the best leader. Like I've just honestly just started because I recently just started taking care of myself. But man, I think it goes so fast because we internally actually know what we need to do to be a good leader. And like I've known that for years, but I've only acted on it for a few months. And I think it's like basically within everyone, because we all look up to people too in the industry. And for me, I believe that that's because we look up to certain traits that they have, which always one of those traits that comes back is leadership, right? Yep. So with that being said, I think that that's what leads a company to success. I think that's why your managers need to have, basically also those traits. And that's why it is very controversial. I love people like Andrew Tate, right? Like masculinity and really going into the purest form of who you are, I believe too breeds incredible confidence that cannot be commented with, because it's just in our nature as a man to have that, right? And so when you really just go in that and you do the basic things, like naturally you can become a good leader, but also with experience. So yeah, it's a very fascinating topic. And as you can see, like it reflects in all facets of life. Like, and it's funny because even in like my relationship, if I would think of like, what's funny, because before I post like an IG story or an IG feed content that like I'm unsure about, usually I'd ask the Nick like, hey babe, what do you think about this? Right? I'm so self-conscious. I'm like, I'm just going to post it.
Yeah. It's almost like consolidate. Yeah, dude. It's like if you can consolidate all of these character traits you're talking about, it just sounds like a sense of self-resolve, like a deep sense of self-resolve of like, and what you said there was very interesting and it's so true. And I've experienced this even at the scale that I'm at of like self-doubt is ultimately more harmful than the business than making the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of that Jim Rohn quote, or not verbatim, it's a quote, but he's got this concept of like when you reach an intersection and you can't decide where to go, just peel down one way. You'll find out if it was the wrong way. Just turn around if it was. It's not a big deal. But sitting idle is actually more painful in the short and the long term than just picking and just deciding. And so this is one of the traits that I see of the successful people and the people that, succeed in your programs and my programs, people generally in any industry that succeed. They have the ability to make quick decisions. Right or wrong, they're willing to commit all the way to that decision, see it all the way through, and then at the very end of it, if there is a made the wrong decision, cool, we'll retract, we'll go the other way. But odds are, it's what I've found is it's not the decision itself, it's the posture in which you make the decision with, and your willingness to make that decision work for you. There's no binary right or wrong, right? And that's, I think, something I've picked up along my way, and I think something that you're in your own words saying yourself. It's like, no right or wrong. Just make a strong decision and commit. And I think so many people are afraid of doing that. And it's very inspiring, dude, because I think I thought that like the $1 million a month activities were like just tons of marketing, tons of sales. It's like, and you start to consolidate these traits, and it's like, it's leadership, it's decision making, decisiveness, quick on your feet, willing to commit all the way to the things that are best for the business, willing to reward on good behavior, punish on bad behavior, staying unobjective and unbiased, completely neutral, having a clear vision, downloading it to your team often, and having eyes on the whole business. And if you could do those things, then, and I think that's what you've demonstrated and done very, very well. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to mentor directly underneath me and learn all the strategies that we've implemented into our students' businesses to help over 100 people reach 6 figures a year, 100 to $999,000 a year, and over, I think it's 15 students as of January 2023 to $1 million a year or more, then I want you to go ahead and schedule your completely free consultation with us. There's no pressure to make a decision. We're not going to force your hand. We're just trying to figure out what it is that you need in order to take that next step to either start your online consulting or coaching business in any niche, any industry, or take your existing consulting or coaching business and really scale it to that next level in order to really sustain a business, put a lot of money in the bank very quickly, and serve a lot of people. Okay, so you can use the pinned comment on this video, or if you're listening on our podcast, go to treycockrum.com/schedule-page, and you can check out that page. It's just a simple schedule page. If you fill out a form and we want to know a bit about you, a bit about where you're coming from and what's motivating you to even speak with us, so that we can make sure we give you the best options. And if we notice that you're honestly not in the best place to get started, whether that's financially or time constraints or otherwise, we'll make some other suggestions to you, okay? Our reputation is everything to us, so we're only going to really make offers to people we know for a fact that we can help. And even if we don't make you an offer, it will still be some of the best 45 to 60 minutes you've spent on your business this year, because you're going to get a custom strategy and be told exactly what you should do next. Okay, so book your free consultation using the link in the description or in the pinned comment, or if you're listening on our podcast, treycockrum.com/schedule-page. See you there.